Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're going to be doing a Mist Valley deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one because this is actually a Patreon request deck profile for Gloomba. So Gloomba actually requested for me to do a Mist Valley deck, which is really cool because this is one of the first decks that was actually released in Hidden Arsenal, and it is an awesome deck, I have to say. It's only got about 14 or 15 Mist Valley cards in the entire archetype, but boy, are all of them crazy. Like being able to summon an Apex Avian and being able to negate something once per chain by just bouncing a Mist Valley from deck to hand, and even using cards like Thunderbird that can just special summon themselves back to the field is just absolutely wild in this deck. You can get some infinite negations. You can actually totally lock down your opponent, which you guys will see in the test hands, and it's just a super cool deck. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come part of notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below, just like Gloomba did, for all those awesome rewards like getting your name to every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron, along with test hands. And we're getting straight on into this one guys. So first off, we're going to be playing a single copy of Mist Valley Apex Avian. So Apex Avian is a crazy cool card in this particular deck because basically what this card does is once per chain, when a card or effect is activated, you get to activate the effect of Quick Effect to target a Mist Valley you control, return it to the hand, and if you do, negate the activation. Do that, destroy the card. This card is an Omni Negate just for bouncing a Mist Valley from deck to hand, which is just really good in this deck, and it's been a card that has just totally dominated formats before, and it was like, I thought they were going to put this card to 0 on the list, which is just such a crazy thing to think about with this particular card. We then play 3 copies of Mist Valley Thunderbird. Mist Valley Thunderbird has a very simplistic effect, which is very good in this particular deck, that when this face-up card on the field returns to the hand, you get to special summon it, which is just crazy because you can constantly, not even once per turn, bounce this card to hand off the Apex Avian and get yourself essentially infinite negates, as long as you can do it in the same chain. You can only negate 1 per chain, but once you establish this card on the field with Apex Avian, it's usually game over against your opponent, which is just absolutely wild because you just bounce this card to hand and then special summon it back, and then the Apex Avian is loaded to go again. We then play 3 copies of Mist Valley Falcon. Mist Valley Falcon is a great card in this deck, and it's actually one of the key cards of the strategy. It is a wing beast monster, and the effect of it kind of sounds bad, but it's got a really awesome effect that when this card declares an attack, you must return 1 card you control to your hand. Now that sounds really bad, that the only way that you can attack is by bouncing a card from your field to your hand, but it's actually not. There's certain cards in the deck that actually take advantage of that particular effect to become infinite cards in this deck, which we'll get into in just a minute. This card is really good. It's a 2000 normal summon, which is just really good even in today's Yu-Gi-Oh standards, and it's just a really awesome card in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Mist Condor. So Mist Condor is a great card in this deck that has the ability that you can special summon this card from your hand by returning 1 face-up Mist Valley monster you control to your hand, and if you do, this card's attack becomes 1700. Well, this is really a cool card because it can get you a special summon for free. If you bounce your copy of Mist Valley Thunderbird back to your hand, you can then special summon Condor, and then Condor's effect will be able to immediately just special summon itself, and then you'll get your copy of your Thunderbird back on the field, which is a really cool effect. We then play 2 copies of Mist Valley Shaman. Mist Valley Shaman is really good because it's a tuner monster. That's the only real effect that you have on her, is that she's a tuner. She's one of the coolest looking cards in the entire deck, but once per turn, you return 1 other card you control to your hand to have this card gain 500 attack until the end phase. She just goes to 1700. It's not the greatest effect in the whole wide world, but it's still really good to have a tuner level 3 wing beast because it helps you go in with needle fiber into some really awesome plays. We then play 3 copies of Doodle Doo. Doodle Doo is really good because it has the ability, if you control no monsters on your field, you can special summon this card from your hand as a level 3 monster, and if your opponent controls a monster and you control no cards, you can special summon this card, but it becomes a level 4, and if this card would leave the field, it's banished, which is a pretty good effect because basically it's a Cyber Dragon effect, because the whole deck is what you're trying to do is to get out a Mist Valley monster onto your side of the field that's a non-tuner or any non-tuner monster, plus a tuner on your field to go into Needle Fiber and just go off from there. We then play 3 copies of Red-Haired Hasty Horse. Red-Haired Hasty Horse is a very interesting card that can special summon itself to your side of the field in a column that no other card occupies. So basically, if in column 3 in the middle, in between the 2 extra monster zones, you have no set spell or trap, you have no monster, your opponent has no monster, and they have no set spell or trap, you can special summon this card to your side of the field for free, which is really cool. I like that effect to be able to just do that because it's a really good card to help you link summon in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Reborn Tengu as well. Reborn Tengu, every time it leaves the field, you could special summon another Reborn Tengu from the deck. It is not once per turn, so every single time it's removed from the field, you get special summon. So you have a card that can special summon like a copy of Unexpected Die that we're going to be playing later. You can activate that card and then immediately normal summon this card and link summon away for a Needle Fiber, because we do play a normal tuner monster in the deck as well to be able to go into. And this card just gives you another monster to help you link climb. The only downside of this card that I've noticed is that it's a Beast Warrior, unfortunately, and not a Wing Beast, so you can't go into Smorg Link. We'll play a single copy of Gen X Ally Birdman. This card is a super old school card that's really cool in this deck because you can actually use this card with Reborn Tengu to bounce a copy of Reborn Tengu back to hand, special summon out the copy of your Gen X Ally Birdman, and then get another copy of your Reborn Tengu from the deck, and then its effect to be able to link summon together into a Needle Fiber is already off, which is great. Also, Gen X Ally Birdman works really well with your copy of your Mist Valley Thunderbird. Even to this day, Gen X Ally Birdman is a great card. I would love to see this card actually go to 2, though. We then play a single copy of Barrier Statue of Stormwinds because it is a wind-based deck and it's super easy to actually use with the Smorg Link in this deck, so it's a super easy card to combo with that particular card. We play a single copy of the Mecha Phantom Beast Colt Wing. Colt Wing just generates you a bunch of tokens on your field, and it's for the Auroradon combo, which I do play the Auroradon combo and the Smorg combo in the same deck, which is just insane that you can do both. We play a single copy of Despot 01 because Despot 01 combos very well with the Auroradon combo to get you 2 Synchro monsters on your side of the field, including an FA Dawn Dragster and or a Borreload Savage and a copy of FA Herald of the Arclight. That's what it is. You can get a combination of the 3 of those monsters on your side of the field, which is really awesome. We play a single copy of Angel Trumpeter because this card is a tuner monster that you can start summon off of Unexpected Die, and is the highest attack point tuner monster that I know of that's a normal monster in the entire game. You can play Gen X Controller if you want to, but I just thought 1900 looked better than like 13, so I played this card in the deck. And then we play a single copy of Phantom Griffin. Now, I will mention, you guys, you do have a single normal monster, oddly enough, in the Mist Valley archetype, which is called Mist Valley Watcher. You can play it in the deck. I don't, but you can over the Phantom Griffin. I don't recommend it because the Phantom Griffin actually is a wing beast, or for some reason, the copy of the Mist Valley Watcher is actually a normal monster, or a normal spellcaster, which is kind of weird to me. So it's not super great in this particular deck, so I didn't play it over the copy of the Phantom Griffin or the Angel Trumpeter. So that's it for the monsters. It is a lot of monsters compared to the spells and traps, so let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Double or Nothing, because you can summon out Utopia Double for a quick OTK against your opponent to be able to attack them with for a 10,000 beat stick. We play a single copy of Terraforming because you still have the card Divine Wind of Mist Valley in this deck, so it's a really good card. Basically what this card does is once per turn, if a wind monster you control returns to the hand, except during the damage step, then you can special summon another level 4 or lower wind monster from your deck, which is super helpful for this deck to get you additional monsters on the field. I really hope that in the future this card could go to 2. It hasn't seen any play since it went to 1. I know Harpies made this card crazy with Dancer, but at today's game, as being a once per turn, don't think it would be that bad to put this card at 2. We then play 3 copies of Unexpected Die. It's a great opener card in this deck to be able to use, because basically you're going to use this card to either get your Angel Trumpeter if you don't have a tuner, or your copy of your Phantom Griffin if you do have a tuner on your side of the field to be able to go into Needle Fiber, and it's just super, super crazy and super helpful in this deck to be able to just instantly special summon out a normal monster. We then play 3 copies of a card you would not expect in this deck. I guarantee you guys, you're not going to expect this card. So we're actually going to just, like, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but you're actually playing 3 copies of Swords of Revealing Light. Okay, I know. Wait, hold on. Don't go anywhere. You play 3 Swords of Revealing Light for a reason. So the reason you actually play Swords of Revealing Light in this deck is because of the card that I mentioned earlier. You play it for Mist Valley Falcons. A Mist Valley Falcon has the effect that it can bounce a card back from your field to your hand. So basically what you do is you have infinite Swords Revealing Light. So this card removes itself after the 3rd turn of it being on the field. If you guys are familiar with what Swords Revealing Light does, if you're a veteran player, after this card is activated, it remains face on the field, but you must destroy it during the end phase of your opponent's 3rd turn. When this card is activated, if your opponent controls any monsters that are face down, you flip all those monsters face up, and then once you do, when this card is face on the field, your opponent cannot declare attacks. So if you combo this card with Mist Valley Falcon, and you have a copy of the Barrier Statue Stormwinds on your field, and you attack with this card, you can bounce this card back depending on how many counters it has. It doesn't matter. You can just bounce this card back to hand, even if it's on the 3rd counter. Like, as long as it's still on the field, you can just bounce it back, and it just gives you infinite not being able to be attacked. Now, I have another card in the deck that's actually really crazy with this card. We then play 3 copies of Big Bang Shot. So you guys might be looking at this card and going, wait, why are you playing this old school Magician's Force equip spell? Well, there's a reason. Hey, guess what? It actually works with this card. Again, Mist Valley Falcon. So what this card does is it basically makes a monster gain piercing damage and 400 attack. But it has a weird clause on it that if it's removed from the field, then the equipped monster is banished. So you can equip this to your opponent's monsters and then bounce it back to hand with the effect of your Mist Valley Falcon to be able to then go into being able to banish your opponent's monsters. So this card can destroy a monster by battle and banish a card on attack, which is really, really good in this deck. I really like this card in this build, and it's worked out super well for me, and also it can give Utopia double piercing damage, which is hilarious. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, I just play a single copy of Metaverse. It's to get to Divine Wind of Mist Valley super fast. You don't have to play this. You can play the Shrine of Mist Valley if you want to. It helps out a little bit to be able to go into, but it's kind of there if you need it. Because once you draw the Divine Wind of Mist Valley, it kind of is a dead card. It's kind of a brick. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing a single copy of Mist Valley Thunderlord because it's the only extra deck card that this deck actually has. And it has the ability that you can once per turn select one card you control, return it to the hand, and it gains 500 attack until the end phase. This effect can be activated during either player's turn because it's an old school printing of this card, so it doesn't say it's a quick effect. This card's pretty good to be able to just immediately summon to your field. It's so good it's actually ripped Allied Justice Catastor in half, which is hilarious. But it's a 2600 beat stick that can become a 3100 beat stick, and also it has the ability that it can bounce your copy of Big Bang Shot during your opponent's turn or Swords Revealing Light during your opponent's turn, which is pretty good. Play the same copy of F.A. Dawn Dragster for the Aurora Dawn combo. It can give you spell and trap negations, which is really helpful. One copy of Borreload Savage Dragon, because it's easy to summon, again, kind of with the Aurora Dawn combo, to get you a copy of Borreload Savage on the field to give you negates. One copy of Herald of the Arclight, because it's a level 4 monster that helps out in the deck to give you additional negates, and also has a really cool effect that after this, or any monster sent from the hand or the main deck to the graveyard is banished instead, which can really mess up your opponent's plays. One copy of Access Code because it gives you additional pops. This can be a copy of Borreload if you want it to be, or Boral Sword. It can be either or if you're looking at trying to get this deck on a budget, because the main deck is very, very budget, but this card is not. So you can change it out if you want to. One copy of Smorg the Bird, the extra deck monster. This card is really cool because what this card does is basically lets you special summon a wing beast from the deck equal to the unused zones that your opponent and you control. So you can special summon up to a level 10 wing beast depending on if these spells and traps are unoccupied, which is really nice because basically you're going to be able to special summon out your copy of Apex Avian off this card. You can't special summon Thunderbird because it's a thunder monster, but you can also summon out your copy of Falcon. There's just any wing beast that you see in this deck you can special summon off this card. We then play a copy of Auroradon because it generates tokens and is really good for combo starting in this deck. We play a single copy of a Unicorn because it bounces stuff, and it's just a really good card in the deck to bounce stuff. Phoenix because it pops spells and traps. One copy of Needle Fiber, which is arguably the most important card in the entire extra deck to go into, so you can go into the Smorg link very, very easily. One copy of Heartland Draco because you will control face-up cards like Swords Revealing Light, and this card can just smack your opponent for, 2,000 every turn, which is pretty cool because while face-up spells on the field, it can't be targeted for attack. And then once per turn, you can detach a material from this card, and this card can attack directly, which is a Zeus machine, which is great. One copy of Lightning Chidori. Lightning Chidori has the ability that basically it bounces a set card your opponent controls and returns it to the bottom of the deck. And then once per turn, you can detach a material from this card to target a face-up card your opponent controls and return that target to the top of the deck. So this card's really good at just helping you deal with your opponent's cards. 1 copy of Utopia double, so you can OTK your opponent because you make this card, detach a material, summon a copy of Utopia on top of it, search double or nothing. Utopia comes out at 5,000, you swing at your opponent for 5,000, and then you negate the attack, drop a copy of double or nothing, and it swings for 10,000 for an OTK, and then a single copy of Zeus, because Zeus board wipes, and it's really good in this deck. So you don't have to play Zeus either. You can drop it out if you need to for a copy of Tornado Dragon if you absolutely have to, and you're trying to build this deck on a budget. So that's it for the deck, guys. It's a really crazy deck. Like, I really love the way that this deck actually turned out. It took a little while to actually figure out exactly how I wanted to build the deck. I started out with like a Falcon Turbo build, and it worked really well because you use stuff like Powerful Rebirth, and use stuff like Big Bang Shot and Swords Revealing Light to bounce stuff, and Fiendish Chains to just bounce them back to hand. But I was like, I'm not really utilizing the whole Mist Valley archetype, so I really bounced back and started doing this build, and it works. It's really cool. I love the way that it came out. You guys are going to love the test hands when they hit the channel. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for requesting this one, Gloomba, and definitely give Gloomba some love down in the comments down below. And don't forget to hit that bell in there so you can come to our notification squad and check out the Patreon in the description, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.